home. We are WNST, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. We're positively here. Sunshine, boats, planes flying over. We're at Kooper's, not north, we're at Kooper's Fells Point. We're down here in Baltimore. It's all brought to you by the Maryland Lottery. We have the Gold Rush 7 doublers here. We are at Kooper's Tavern next to Slancha. We're on Thames Street. Or as Bill Cole's going to call it, Tame Street, before it's all over with here today. We're here for Fleet Week, Maryland Fleet Week, and Phillies are in town. We're going to New York next week. We'll be at Costas on Thursday. We'll be at Pappas the following Friday. Bill Cole has joined us. I would have brought my Cole Roofing mug with me here this morning. What are you doing down here, man?
I don't know.
How many roofs in Fells Point your family since 1919?
A lot. I don't know. It's pretty happening down here. I'll tell you.
You text me an hour ago. You're like, I can't get in.
Yeah, I came from one side to the other side, and I mean, if it doesn't make you happy to drive down Pratt Street and see all the people, it's just good stuff.
I was telling Ron, I came down 83 and I fished over through like Little Italy. I went down Lombard, or no, it should be Pratt. I made a left at Pratt, and as I made the left, the planes were coming in, and I hadn't seen them, but I could hear them. It's like it's sonic. I felt it in my chest on 83, right? So I pull in, and I can't see the planes. But all I saw, there's a lot of construction, like Central Avenue, just a little bit east of like Little Italy, a little north of the Harbor East area, but construction workers everywhere. And they're all got their phones out, and they're all looking in the sky. And I'm looking at them, and all I see is they're holding phones in my direction in the sky. And I know the planes are going by, but I'm thinking, this is disruptive. I mean, nothing. When these planes come by, you have to watch them.
Yeah.
You can't ignore it. It's like the sonic boom of it, but they move so fast that everywhere I went, people were looked up in the sky like this. And I'm like, that's kind of neat, I thought.
Yeah. I mean, we can go down this rabbit hole if you want, because there goes one right now.
There goes one right there, yeah.
And we used to be fortunate enough to do sand soccer the same time they were doing it down the beach or whatever.
Oh.
And that was always wild too, other than the fact that all the players stopped and looked up in the middle of the game.
Well, the beach, they buzz the beach, right?
Yeah. And it's loud,
Right.
But no, I mean, it's super impressive, and it's just so vibrant down here, and this is such a special little corner spot anyway.
Well, we got the wind. I mean, the window's right here. I can touch the window from where I am. So
the hotel across the street, five stars, and then you're walking across the cobblestone to a bar that's been here for 200 years. I challenge anyone, everywhere I go, tell me another city where you can do that.
I had a family four from Philly at this table here as I was setting up, and they were telling me everything you and I talk about creating Baltimore Positive years ago, and I credit you as being the inspiration for some of this stuff, or at least getting my head around it. But they were like, we love coming down here. Phillies played in Baltimore. The minute we saw that, we're like, we're going to go down and do that. They didn't know Fleet Week was even happening until they got here this morning.
Right.
They flew. They drove down. They're at the Hilton. They're going to the ball game. They're spending the day in the city tomorrow. They're going to watch the planes tomorrow.
Right.
Do the whole deal. And they're like, we don't have this in Philly. That's literally what they said. And I had a real nice conversation with them about why they picked a weekend in Baltimore, because there are people in Bel Air that don't pick a weekend in Baltimore that need to.
And I would.
I can hear the planes.
I know,
going by.
that's
it's crazy.
So cool.
It's loud.
We are. I think there's good effort going into farther than 300 miles, right? So how do you touch people farther than 300 miles to bring them into town? And I think we have a lot of effort in that area. We're still trying to figure out how to have that conversation inside 300 miles, right? When the Orioles are good, those people are coming back.
Yeah, people in Hagerstown will never come to Baltimore until the Orioles are playing a big game, and then they'll come in. Right.
So how do we connect with those people on things like Fleet Week or the auto show or the boat show? And,
I call them manufactured events.
Yeah, everybody's got their little niche, and, you can usually draw them in. So, I don't know. This was really positive. There was a good chance I was going to text you and be like, yeah, well, I couldn't park anywhere.
There.
So, but I got lucky.
So here's my Baltimore complaint, and we can hear the planes.
I know.
I pulled in about 11:30 this morning. I feel like I'm competing with the planes. I went down to the foot of Broadway, past the Horse, past Soundgarden, past Sukasa, that parking garage on the left, right by living classrooms. I pulled in. There were a couple spots, and I did the little QR code, right? Like I do for my lottery tickets here, right?
Yeah.
So I do the QR code, and I'm like, all right, I'll play along. Put your phone number in. Okay, I'll play along. License plate. All right, play along. It comes up. It says $31.25 for 4 hours to park the car. That's not that's sweet daddy pricing for me on a Friday morning. So what I realized is they're doing Uber surge pricing.
Ooh.
They're surge pricing because of Fleet Week.
Okay.
So I have a feeling next Friday, if I come down here to park,
$5, $7,
$2.50 an hour.
Right,
Something that's not $8 an hour.
I got you.
So I was a little, I would say taken aback, but I would call it sticker shocked. And I've parked, but I went up the street to Broadway because I'm a Baltimore guy. I went up to Bank and Golf. I'm parked right on Broadway in the little center area. I paid $6 for 4 hours.
You have to pay for convenience.
6 or 32.
Okay, right. But you went there, got a convenience, and they're banking on that. And you chose to make.
I went there out of
decision.
familiarity. I knew where to park.
I
knew where there's been a garage for 50 years.
I got you. I'm with you. But hey, good on them. I don't know. That's called capitalism. It's not a terrible thing.
I call that gouging.
Why?
Hold on. We're gonna have this conversation.
Every single time someone
Mr.
raises
Independent,
the price,
Bill Cole, is that we're gonna do?
That's capitalism, brother. That's.
Well, when it's crowded here in Kooper's, they charge another $5 for a beer or for a sandwich because they maybe could.
Probably not.
They shouldn't. It's wrong. Gouging's wrong. It's un-American. Let's not make that a value.
Why is it gouging if that's the model over the course of the year? The only way they can give you $5 parking when it's not crowded is because they can get $30 pricing when it's crowded.
You were talking to too many of those lawyers in Vegas 2 weeks ago. Is what it was.
I'm probably not going to back off on this one too much. I think capitalism's pretty important.
I feel Mr. Rubenstein's presence.
Right.
He's within 2 blocks here. I'm not allowed to come. But he is within 2 blocks of here giving a speech to significant Baltimore representatives. Significant.
For Fleet Week or for the Orioles or for
Living Classrooms has a mixer with him today.
All right.
So, yeah.
That's
and I'm
cool.
here. We're at Kooper's. We're at Kooper's in Fells Point. Bill Cole knows about it. There have been a couple of times where you've invited me out for a beer. It doesn't happen often. He only pretends to like me on the radio. But you've invited me, and it's always down here. You're always you've invited me for beers down here. Well, I think at one point you had a property issue down here. You were looking at there was something going on, but you're one of the people that invite me to drink, other than Ron Furman, invite me to drink right here in Fells Point.
I like Fells Point. We're not going to get into too many stories of why I like it, but. There was a time period in my life where I may or may not have spent a fair amount of time down here, and I still find it to have just such a genuine charm. And if you appreciate history and you read anything about Baltimore and the history and Fells, and it's just legit, man. And
I know you're not on Facebook, so when I was getting gouged by the un-American people trying to charge me $32 in my hometown to park my car.
Good job.
So I went up Central Avenue, and I went over to Broadway, and I parked my car, and now I'm 6 blocks up, of which you're going to have to help me carry some of this out of here. You didn't know that yet. But I'll get you a beer at Max's on the way out of here because I got friends. So on the way down, before I got to Max's, I looked up, and I had a moment. I had one of those moments. I'm walking down, and I'm like, the House of Foam is gone.
There's a Starbucks up the block. That was the first time I saw that.
I didn't know that
existed.
That was
very interesting.
So I'm walking down, and I'm like, the House of Foam's gone. All right. Barracuda's is gone. All right. Hey, Pizza Shop's still here. And I'm like, the Pizza Shop's right next to Roto's. And I took a picture here of me out in front of Roto's there. Me and some pals from Dundalk might have snuck into this joint a handful of times before our 21st birthday.
We were
Dionysos?
Two doors down, yeah.
Dionysos?
No. It was Chios way back.
Chios. Did they stop? So Dionysos and Rotos, when I would go in there when I was, don't tell Ron, 17, 18, 19, I would go in there on a Friday or Saturday night. And there were always older Greek folks there because they owned the place, right? So they would look at us and, Joe 18, Joe 21, So we were in there, and they'd be playing, I remember the music. How would I know if he really loves me? So, we're doing a little Whitney Houston, you know what I mean, out on the dance floor. And then it would stop, and the Greek music would come on.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And all the old Greek folks, they would come out, and they would do the, so they would do all of this. That was Rhodos and Dionysos in 1986-87.
Yeah,
I love those memories.
Sure. That
So
was
when you
not my
say
experience, but yes,
things that
I
happened
know
down
exactly
here. What was your bar? Bar? Were you at bar? Bar? You know about bar? Ron, bar. Bar? You know bar down the street. Bar. Did it have any other name? Was it just always bar? Bar. It was just bar.
That one does not ring a bell.
You got to talk to real Fells Point people to know
understand.
about this stuff down here.
Yeah.
Where did you Horseshoe came in on?
No, we were at. It was called Chio's.
Chio's. That was the only. That was your spot.
It was my buddy's mom.
The night of my 21st birthday,
which he's gonna text me after this.
1989.
Can't believe you.
Bad English played Hammerjacks. I had been going to Hammerjacks for years. Like Ron, I got in underage because I was a music critic, right? So the night that I could first legally drink, it was midnight on a Friday night, like into a Saturday. So it was like October 13th, like at midnight, and I was trying to get into the Horseshoe came in on at like 10:30. And the bouncer looks at my ID, come back at midnight, dude. And I'm like, F you, I will never come back here. You're doing this to me on my 21st birthday? You're not letting me in? Got to come back at midnight. Well, I'm going over to Surfside Sally's, and I'm never coming. And I don't think I went into the horse until Eddie started playing there 15 years later.
Right.
I had an anti-horse thing.
Yeah.
It weighed on me.
You really want to get into this? This is like another.
Where'd you go?
This is one of them therapy sessions.
Where'd you
right
go?
here,
John
like
Stevens? Did you get some sushi down there?
Like bitter, like holding that against that poor man doing his job. Just holding you out until
well, when you're
midnight.
21, you think you know it all.
I understand.
I love the horse. I go to the horse all the time. I was there a couple weeks ago. I probably go. Don't tell Ron. Probably go to the horse more than most places because he's got Ed Lauer plays there sometimes, and Ed's my buddy. So that's what drags me in. Music drags me in.
These days I am more infatuated with walking just the streets down here than I am with getting stuck on a bar stool in any one of them. So
all right. Well,
I just think I don't know how long ago this was, but at some point we would do some of our spots where I was in the car, right?
Mm-hmm.
I definitely parked there with that as my view while we were
doing radio.
Yeah. And that was during COVID, maybe.
You
or
love
something
Fells
like that.
Point. You really do.
It's just, it's just a good spot. It's
It's
got
the
the
centerpiece
heritage
of Baltimore.
It's got the heritage. It's unique. Whatever flavor you're into, it's relatively easy to get in and out of. For me, I think. I don't know.
I paid $6 to park. I'm happy.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. It's fun. There's a lot of people that have made a living, started careers, tried to pay their way through college. You know what I mean? It's a salt of the earth kind of spot in Baltimore where you might cut your teeth, and whether you're in the music scene,
bar right here 30 years ago.
Music scene, bartender, food, So definitely an under the radar foodie spot.
Well, get down here, man. It's Fells Point. It is Baltimore Positive. It's all brought to you by the Maryland Lottery. I have Gold Rush 7 doublers to give away. We're going to be at Costas on Thursday before the Orioles game. We're going to be at Pappas on the 25th. We were up at Cooper's North last week. We were at Coco's the other day. I've had rock stars on. I've had a lot of friends on. We've done movies. We've done symphony. We've done events. You being the event guy and this Fleet Week, and we talk so much about if you look at the Baltimore calendar, like I did working at the newspaper, we would look at it and say, all right, what's going on here? We got Flower Mart is early May. We've got the Towson Town Festival. We got the Preakness.
Sure.
We've got this Fleet Week thing is every other year now through the plague. And I had Chris Rosum on last week from Living Classrooms, and people put this on down here. It's these manufactured events. And the IRL we tried with Stephanie years ago to turn our city into a racetrack. But this, to me, with Annapolis, with Fort McHenry, with reopening the Key Bridge at some point whenever that happens, this Fleet Week thing seems to be a natural sort of draw for Baltimore.
It certainly seems that way. I
don't think the Phillies need to be in town to have a lot of people here.
I think it certainly doesn't help, and the realization of people in Philadelphia that they can't do Fleet Week like this, or that they don't. I don't know if they can't, but they don't.
They get the Army-Navy game.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. I think it's totally a natural draw. I think it's super amazing. I think it's good, I keep
yeah, you're
you
really
can't be
distracted.
any more distracted by F-14s or whatever those
these planes
things are.
They're flying really low.
Yeah, it's
somebody
pretty cool.
somebody said that too. They're like they're flying lower. Now the Blue Angels are not here. Somebody thought they saw the Blue Angels, but these are not the Blue Angels.
Yeah.
You call them the Blue Angels if you want, but
Right.
they're not the Blue Angels.
Yeah, no, it's that's always fascinating. Like, how can you not stare at that as it goes rocketing past in the sky?
Well, that was the thing. I texted my wife at the first red light in '83. I'm like, it's loud AF, like
Right.
really loud down here. And then the thing that struck me is every time the plane goes by, your eyes go out the window. Every time you hear it, you're looking up. Everybody's
Right.
looking up.
Right.
So we have a weekend of that. It'd be fun down here.
It is. And I'll tell you. I mean, I can't really tell. You can tell who some of the Phillies people are because of that.
Well, they're wearing peas and with
right.
baby blue. Yeah.
Burgundy, whatever color that is. But I can't imagine that this is mostly Philly people.
It was earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's Phillies fans everywhere.
Well, I mean, it probably is, because the Baltimore people work, and today is a work day, so we're still working. How's that?
You working? You don't have a beer yet, so
some
you're not
people
working.
have a hard time allowing me to call this working, but yes, I would consider this working.
How's the summer at Cole Roofing and Gordian Energy? I saw Joe Enoch with a little post up on LinkedIn earlier. What's going on? Solar and roofing. You were talking roofing
good.
with Ron down here.
Yeah.
Max's,
He's filling me in. He did some stuff. It's real busy. I just need the weather to cooperate a little bit.
What does that mean? Hotter or colder? Drier?
Drier.
Yeah,
it's been a really wet year so far, so we just, although we need it to rain for people to know that they need a roof, at the same time we
don't hang gazebos on the roof to get work done?
Yeah, we can't do a lot when it's raining. All things are really good. I think we've gotten to a place where, especially on the solar side, the opportunities significantly outweigh the capacity, the ability to get to it all. So, we're
it's
trying,
growth.
We're just trying to hire people constantly, and they're good jobs, and usually we're finding good people, and I mean that's a lot of fun.
I like to hear that. What's a qualification to be in the solar space? I don't even know. Could you take a clown like me in the 50s who's done a lot of different things and say I could teach you solar?
Well, I'm not entirely sure you would make it through our soft skill questions, but yeah, I mean generally speaking, we've created a.
I don't know what a soft skill is, but I think I was just insulted on my show.
That would be exactly right.
Yes.
We've figured out a way to do what we're calling a project engineer, which is sort of this entry level, project management role, where we can begin to teach you all the aspects of solar from start to finish, and then that is sort of the launch pad inside the company. That if you want to get into sales, or you want to get into estimating, or you want to get into O&M and service, or whatever, we kind of can see where that.
What percentage of people have solar now? It's less than 1% of the world, right? It's like that, right?
Yeah.
So the growth. If you ever get to 8 or 10%, it's going to take a whole hell of a lot of Gordian Energies and solar people to make this transition. There aren't enough companies like you doing the work, right?
Yes. It's been a pretty rapid growth. I saw some post the other day. It was the 50th anniversary of the large industry organization, and they kind of laid out some timelines, and it really ramps up from 2005 to today.
Okay.
But they paid attention to the fact that it was there in the 70s and stuff like that. I think what everyone's trying to wrap their heads around is, as we electrify the country, right? We push more things to electric.
Away from coal, away from gas.
We don't have. Well, no, those are fine. They're making electric. I'm talking about when you take your car and you make it electric, or all the Wi-Fi, all the database, all the.
I'm talking about my stove AI, and the way I get heat, and the way people get heat everywhere.
Everything.
Right.
We're electrifying everything. We have to make sure, and at the same time, we're trying to take coal offline. It takes a really, really long time to build a nuclear power plant. So, how do we compensate for the added desire, need, with generation? And solar can do that.
Local power, literally as local as it can get from the sun, right?
Sure.
Bring it down, bring it here. It doesn't go hydro. It's not wind. It's none of that. It's right on premise. I could make the electricity at my radio station from my roof and my land to be neutral for.
You don't have to be a scientist to think about the idea that if we turned 10% of all the cars electric, you would need more electricity.
Right, of course.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's those stations they have at the Rofel.
Right, so you're going to need more electricity. You're just gonna. So where's it coming from, right? You want to
get it from a nuclear plant? You want to get it right. I got you. Okay. All right.
And it takes all, right? It takes the blend. Like it takes a mixture of all.
That's why I calm down and I talk to you. I
things.
learn things. Is what I do.
No,
That's why it's your role here.
Fun.
Bill Cole is here. He is Cole Roofing and Gordian Energy. You can find him on my site at Baltimore Positive. You can find him anywhere roofs are being done for folks out there, especially big roofs and schools and big workplaces and all that stuff. And as well as pouring the Royal Farms coffee into my Cole Roofing mug every morning. You done? You want to go out and fleet away? You keep looking up in the sky.
Yeah, well, I got friends down here.
All right, we're going to go get a beer. We're going to break it out.
Good stuff.
I am Nestor. We are WNST. Big thanks to Patrick Russell, to Samantha, everybody down here at Kooper's for making us comfortable. Ron Furman and Gail for stopping over. Colin, everybody here today for treating us well. The Gold Rush seven doublers, will be with us at Costas. I got a big week of radio next week. A lot of stuff that I did this week that I couldn't even get on the air because we're doing so much with baseball, so much with the Ravens this week, as well as with Fleet Week this week. So next week's going to be a bigger, better week. Very few of us can say we're going to be better next week than we were this week.
I think everybody should be saying that.
I can promise that. Right. I am Nestor. We are WNST, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore, signing off from Cooper's in Fells Point. Back for more of our regularly scheduled programming right after this.